living in New York City for a while, I've been inspired by a lot of the things that I've seen. And also being in this community, it's been an incredible opportunity for me to learn more about who I am and who I am not. And so an expression for me commonly is poetry. Poetry's always been a part of me and something I love very dearly. So here's a little poem. I don't usually title my poems, so it doesn't have a title. But here it goes. Oh, my beloved world, you have given me so much and yet so little. Always offering an answer to my questions, always with a comeback from where I come from. And yet here I stand, still full of questions of self, for your responses, my world, have been an unread subscription that lingers on the coffee table with images that grab. But your answers do not fill. So I just want to say, yo soy libre, porque me ha liberado the great I am. For I am as the cobblestone on the Grand Concourse that call out from breaks in the asphalt. What was once suffocating from sinful tar and stony heart has been freed by the heat of grace. And now by my presence I call out to the world that this land on the surface is not all there is or was. Yo soy libre, porque Él me ha liberado. Libre! God asked me if I want to give my life to Him. And I said, yes. I didn't say, yes! I said, yes. You know, realize the difference? Yeah. And here I am. And He asked the same thing of you, same thing of you. That doesn't mean you're going to be wearing one of these.
You know that, right?
Who can hear me?
God.
You better believe it. He hears us right now. Mm-hmm.
I don't see Him, though.
Yeah, you don't see Him, but He's there.
He invisible.
My name is Brother Agustino.
What is Agustino?
Agustino.
Agustino.
There you go.
Novice is a young man that has come to us, and after spending 6 months living with the community, has decided to make a commitment to live as we do. He receives the religious habit. Quite often they receive a new name, and they live 1 year here in Harlem under the direction of a novice master, and they live a life of prayer and work and also of fraternity. So they are new and learning to live religious life.
My whole life was devoted to skateboarding, right? So I skateboarded for about 10 years, and I had planned on being a professional skateboarder with my life. I gave up trying in school since it wasn't making me happy, right? Was in trouble a lot with the police, with my parents. I ran away from home several times. My mother was a very, very holy woman, very devoted, very loving woman. But she was really looking out for my greater good, but I thought she was, she had lost it. I thought Jesus was only for old ladies who can't have fun in any other way than go to church, right? Which is what I thought. So once she tried to get me to go to this youth conference, and I told her, no, I don't think I'd be interested in going, not at all. And I was not interested in any way, shape, or form. So she tried to get me to, she paid me $75, which is a good amount of money for someone my age. So I went, and when I was there, that's where everything began. That's where God began to work, where I allowed Him into my life, and I was able to find a meaning much deeper, what my heart was yearning for all my life. When I was very young in my conversion, I was thinking, I'm just going to give up everything and walk across the United States barefoot and just rely upon however God provides for me. Then I found out there was a man named St. Francis, and I read a biography on him, and I was like, wow, there's somebody else who really tried to live this life as well. So I did some more reading on St. Francis and looked around for different Franciscan orders, and this is the one, after several years, this is the one that I joined. This is the one that I feel most called to, and after praying and visiting this community for 4 years, this is where I settled.
When I first came to New York, I stopped by a Franciscan monastery. And there was this yearning to be a Franciscan in New York. And I had forgotten about that. And then it resurfaced in 1998. And so for a year, I prayed and discerned what God wanted me to do. What is it that He wanted? And I eventually called Father Glenn, who was the vocation director at the time. And very timidly, I was like, Father, can I think God might be calling me to your order. And he said, sure, come over for a visit. And everything was set at ease.
St. Joseph Friar, hello.
Well, the community of the Franciscans of the Renewal was begun approximately 13 years ago by 8 Capuchin friars. I was one of them. And each of us had a desire to live in a more intense way, in a more, we might say, intentional way, the vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience, and in a way of the St. Francis. And so 12 years ago, or rather once again 13 years ago, with the permission of the Cardinal Archbishop of New York, we came to Harlem and the South Bronx and other areas in order to work with the poor. And at that point there was only 8 of us, and now there are approximately 60 friars in the community.
God is good. All the time.
God is good.
Praise be Jesus Christ.
Now and forever.
Now and forever.
Praise be Jesus Christ.
Yo, what's up? Well, every summer in the South Bronx, we run a program for the youth in the area who otherwise wouldn't have anything else to do. And Tuesdays and Thursdays, we bring them for the day into our friar. Tuesdays into our gym, and Thursdays we take them out someplace. It's called Summer Life. And on Thursdays, this past Thursday, we took them to a state park in New Jersey, where we went swimming, canoeing, and the best experience about that entire thing is when there was a cow in the farm, and all the kids from the city, they said, "Wow, look, what's that, a cow?" It was very funny. But mostly, it's being with them and giving them the attention that they may not get, and showing them the love that Christ showed us.
Well, among ourselves that we say the Franciscan plant always does very, very well in very poor soil, because once again, the origins of the Franciscan order is one in poverty. And so we come to and we live in areas noted for poverty in the South Bronx in New York, and also here in Harlem, because we find that although many people would not like to live in a neighborhood as such, we find this neighborhood very, very rich, because the wealth of a country, of a nation, of a neighborhood is really not in the buildings or in the possessions, but really in the people. We have it in our rule of life that if the neighborhood for whatever reason changes, meaning that if it becomes better, the friars, we will move out. And so hopefully we will always find that poor soil, or that soil which is very, very rich for us throughout our religious life.
And one might be deceived to think that we are here to bring God to these people. But most of the time, these people bring God to us. They show us how to live a faithful life because they have nothing else but God sometimes. I wrote to a friend and I told him that everyone yearns for the divine. And God sometimes uses a Mexican in a monk suit to bring God to them. Which is okay by me, no problem.